Let's go. Hi, I'm Emily, I'm 30 years old and I have ADHD. Did you just hear that? She stretched and did a fart. Right, she can stay with me, but only if she stops farting. Can you do that? I'm making a video today to share with you some revision techniques and tips that I have given students in the past because, believe it or not, I was a high school teacher for 4 whole years. I taught English and I have no problem in suggesting these as tips not only to ADHD students but to any student who's looking to really ramp up their revision and make it super effective. I've chosen tips that I don't think you will have come across before, so these are original and they are backed up by my experience not only as a teacher but also as a student. I have an undergraduate degree and a postgraduate degree, and I've used these tips myself to enhance my ability to sit exams successfully. The first tip that I want to share with you is about using your sense of smell. Sounds crazy, I know, but your sense of smell is really linked to your memory. And obviously revision is quite often just making sure that you remember things. Certain smells can trigger thoughts, feelings, emotions, and memories. You might have experienced this when you have been to a certain location and smelt something, and that has totally transported you perhaps back in time or to a different location in your mind, and that is your sense of smell triggering your memory. Scientists have actually started researching this link between scent and memory to help people with Alzheimer's. There are a couple of different ways that I can share with you to exploit this sense of smell and memory link in your revision techniques. What I would suggest you do is you either break down what you are studying into subjects. So if you're studying for your GCSEs in the UK, you might choose a couple of subjects and allocate certain scents to those subjects. And there's a couple of ways you can do this depending on your budget, how much money you've got. The most expensive way is to use perfume, but if you're someone who really likes perfume, you may have enough perfumes to allocate for each subject that you are studying. Say for example, if I'm studying English literature, I'm going to put on a certain perfume, and every time that you study that topic, you wear that perfume. Make sure you don't wear it when you're studying something else though, because otherwise the magic will go. This is the clever bit. When you come to sit that exam, you apply the scent again and your brain will be triggered to remember the things that you were studying. Plus you smell really good. A slightly cheaper way of doing this is by using essential oils. So you can pick up essential oils online, fairly cheap, something like Amazon. This one is geranium, which is apparently uplifting. And you can put this either in an electronic diffuser. So I'll insert a clip here of an electronic diffuser that I use. I got this off Amazon, it was about £20. You put water into it and then you add some drops of your essential oil and then you let it diffuse in your house while you are studying that subject or topic. And the great thing about this is that you can actually switch in the day what scent you are smelling at the time of studying. So say in the morning you're studying history, you can add a certain essential oil and then you empty it, and then in the afternoon, say you've switched to studying English literature, you add a different essential oil. There is also the option to use a wax burner. Wax burners are much cheaper. You can pick them up in any kind of home store, and all you need is a tea light and your essential oil that you are going to use. You add a little bit of water and you let that get warm, add a couple of drops of your essential oil, and then you can burn it in the same way that you would use the electric diffuser. When it comes to exam time, if you're using essential oils, you still want to wear the oil, but you need to make sure you do it in a safe way. So what I would suggest is get a carrier oil. In this clip, I am using almond oil, and I'm just going to add a few drops of this essential oil, the one that correlates to the exam that I'm sitting, and then mix it up put it on my wrist, and then when I'm in the exam, I can just go and sniff my wrist and it should bring back those memories. You might need to wash your wrist to get rid of the oil, or alternatively, you could put one smell on one wrist and then one smell on the other. Just remember which one's which. It could be like, this one's history and this one's English. So tip number 2 is about using a speed reader. If you're sitting a subject like English, which has got a lot of reading in it, and you are thinking, I need to reread the books or the poems that I have been set, but you find it difficult to focus on reading for extended periods of time, I would suggest downloading something like a speed reader. I myself love reading. However, if I'm forced to do it, there's something in my ADHD brain that says, no, you don't want to. So a speed reader is really useful because not only does it allow you to read really quickly and focus in on the topic, it also can help you track your reading, which can motivate you. It helps you break it down into chunks of time, and it can give you an idea of how long it will take you to read a book, which is helpful when you might find it quite challenging or understimulating. So I'll insert a little clip here of me using it on my phone. In essence, the one that I use is called WordX. It cost me about £6 off the App Store, and it's really fabulous because you can literally input any text and it will do speed reading for you. And that's in essence where they show you one word at a time, so you can't focus on anything else. A little tip from me as an English teacher is that if you are studying a text where the author has passed away and they have been deceased for over 50 years, that means that it's out of copyright and it will probably be available on a website called Project Gutenberg. If you search Project Gutenberg, you can find things like The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, which is a 19th century novel on the GCSE syllabus, and it's got the entire text on there, so you can literally input that into the reader, choose the speed that you want to read it at, and you can select how much you want to read it per day. Make sure that you get the reading speed right for you. You might need it faster, you might need it slower, but you can play around with that on the app. Just to say, not sponsored. Tip number 3 is start small. And that means literally saying to yourself, I'm going to do this for 5 minutes. Often, once we've started a task, it actually creates its own momentum and we are able to go for longer than we imagined we could. It's just about getting that kickstart into doing something. And when you say to yourself, I'm only going to do this for 5 minutes, that takes away some of the pressure and the off-putting emotions that come with thinking I'm going to have to do this for an entire day. It's almost like a bit of a brain trick. A tool that I would suggest that really helps with this kind of thing is using something like a visual timer clock. So this one I picked up on Amazon. It's really useful for me. I use it even now when I'm working. And you can set it to a certain time. So say, for example, you'll say, I'm going to look through my notes for 10 minutes and 10 minutes only. You can set it to 10 minutes. It'll visually show you how much time you have left, which is really good for time blindness. And then when it gets to the end, you get a little buzz, and then you can go and do something else. You might find, however, that you've got over that hurdle and you just keep going, and that's great. But there's no pressure to. You've set yourself a target and you've reached that target. Go and do something else, stimulate your brain in a different way, and then you can always come back and do another 10 minutes. It's 10 minutes more than you would have done if you hadn't done anything. Tip number 4 is all about sound. We talked about smell as a sense. Sound is another one that's really important when it comes to your memory. As someone with ADHD, I really struggle with other sounds going on in an environment. So it's really important to me that I don't have any sound that is going to distract me when I am working. In order to achieve this, I have got a pair of noise cancelling headphones. These are the JBL ones. I don't know what type they are, but they've got a noise cancelling function, which I find really useful. And when I've got them on, I can't really hear that much going on around me. plus they look cool. Usually, to boost the effectiveness of this, I will listen to brown noise. Now, brown noise is something that was recommended to me by someone else who has ADHD, and I found it really useful. It's a bit like white noise, but it's a slightly different frequency, and you can listen to it on YouTube. There's loads of brown noise playlists, or you can find it on something like Spotify, and I usually put that on quite loud, but it doesn't distract me because it's just this like background sound. It's a bit like being on a plane. Or if I'm in a more musical mood, I can't listen to anything with a repeating motif or melody, and I can't listen to anything with lyrics because my brain just goes off and starts thinking about the words. So if I want to listen to some music, I usually listen to jazz. Jazz, I find, because it's not repetitive in the same way as, say, pop music, it means that my brain doesn't necessarily kind of get distracted and latched on to that repeating melody. Plus, it makes me feel really bougie, like I'm in a New York coffee shop, so that makes me feel fancy. Tip number 5 is using novelty to your advantage. People who have ADHD often find that new situations really stimulate them. And revision is often really repetitive and can be quite understimulating, particularly for people with ADHD. Therefore, adding things in that create novelty helps your brain focus in more on that task. You can do this in a number of ways. The easiest one is to switch up the location that you are revising in. So say, for example, you usually revise in your bedroom, have a go at revising in your dining room. That doesn't sound particularly exciting, but even that simple venue change can just help your brain kickstart and focus a little bit more. Obviously, you can take this a bit further. I often find as an adult working that I get more work done when I go and work somewhere where other people are working. So say, for example, I go to a coffee shop that has Wi-Fi and there are other people in there who are also working. If I combine it with things such as brown noise or using timers or both, it means I can actually focus more. Productivity is contagious, so quite often if someone else is working, it makes me work. Not sure why, but it does. When I was a teacher, I would also encourage pupils to think about really zany, bizarre things that they can do to make it a novel experience when they're doing revision. Somebody said to me that whenever they are revising a certain topic, they eat a certain food. When they revise poetry, they eat marshmallows. And then before the poetry exam, they could eat the marshmallows to trigger their memories. That is all the revision tips that I am going to share in this video. I do have a few more, so if you enjoyed this video and you want some more revision tips from me that you might not have heard before, comment, let me know, and like and subscribe. All that jazz, you know how much it helps YouTube creators. I'm also planning a video where I talk about sitting exams as somebody with ADHD. I'll be publishing that in about 2 weeks' time. I also have a Buy Me a Coffee page, so if this was really useful to you and you want to say thank you, then you can head on over there and you can buy me a coffee. Thank you for watching, come back soon, and I wish you all the luck in the world with your exams.